steering mechanism works.
13.
Alright. You manage to get this thing good enough to kind of wibble wobble like riding a bike. But this thing gets up and gets going, and you basically just take off. This thing's a little bit faster than you expected for something with treads. You start rocketing off past the tanker, running past one of these moving, shifting sand dunes.
Do I distract them?
As far as you can tell, it looks like one of them is taken behind you. Like it is interested in whatever you are. It is giving chase. See a sand dune behind you following.
Can I ride up one of the sand dunes in this thing?
You believe you can do so? Like one of the natural sand dunes? Or one of these moving dunes?
One of the natural sand dunes.
Oh yes, these things are made for desert terrain.
Okay, I'm gonna try and go up one, see if it follows me.
Alright, through this haze and smog, you try and keep a straight enough path so you believe you could find your way back. You manage to get up on top of one of these sand dunes. So you stop or just up and over?
I'm gonna stop and look back.
Alright, you kind of pull a U-turn and pull back over top of one, and this sand dune, this shifting dune, does promptly follow and kind of just halts at the bottom of the sand dune.
It doesn't come up or anything?
It just has stopped moving.
I want to test the theory. I want to ride back down and see if it starts following me again.
You pull a big curve around it and start making your way back. This thing promptly does a U-turn as well and starts following you as well.
Okay, so he doesn't like... So they don't like sand dunes. Okay. What's going on with the bunker? Can I see the bunker?
You can see the payload. There are the other two sand dunes are still circling this half-submerged tanker, which is still starting to sink in, almost up to the hatch door.
I want to try and get the dwarves out. With them still circling, I want to try and get the dwarves out.
Alright, you start...
Because they don't seem to have interest in people.
You start shouting your plan to tell them to get out and kind of hop
Run
on.
towards the dunes.
Tell them to get to safety kind of deal. The three of them and 7 manage to make their way out and kind of just head for the closest sand dune as you can kind of point them at. At this point, rather die on their feet instead of in this machine as they kind of figure it out. As this one dune that was following you continues to circle and join in with the other two as this tank gets slowly pulled underneath the sand until it is not seen anymore. It is closed in this small little crater of sand where this large tank machine was. The bellow is heard again as a crack of lightning, and the storm dissipates.
Okay. I look at the little group of dwarves. Have we made it to the sand dunes yet?
Oh yes, you pull up alongside of them. They all seem to be scared and shaken, but they are on top of a sand dune.
We need to get everyone and all the supplies we can on top of the sand dunes. They don't like the sand dunes. They won't come up here.
That doesn't make any sense, one of them points out. Why wouldn't they?
I'm not sure, but I came up here with one chasing me and it stopped dead down there, which means they don't like the sand dunes.
But two of them seem to be having a hard time wrapping their head around why that would deter anything.
It's better than nothing, which is what we have now.
I need everyone to roll a d20. I need to roll like 5 of them. Ooh. Hit. Oh, I'm rolling like a demon here. Damn. What'd you roll?
15.
Okay, I rolled like 3 nat 20s. Holy crap. Um, one of the dwarfs, probably M3, does not make it out of the way in time as a large chunk of this tank rockets from the ground and just flies in your general direction. Uh, this dwarf doesn't make it out of the way in time and practically gets pinned under like the back quarter of this tank.
Is there any way we can work as a team to get it off of him? Is he
Oh
still
yes,
alive?
you instantly he's pinned underneath some sand, not like he's been cleaved in half or anything. But you
Okay.
all instantly rush on it and start digging him out from underneath. As one of the dwarves start looking around wondering where the heck this came from.
They threw it at us from under the ground.
But I But why did they? Why would they spare 7? Why this doesn't make sense? As everyone's starting to put their questions and answers together, they're not understanding anything.
I don't understand it either. The only thing I have put together is they don't like sand dunes and they want your machinery, not you.
Well, if we figure out why they want our machinery, we could get some answers. One of them says.
Well, we can't do that unless we can actually manage to follow one to wherever the heck they're taking your machinery. Which would mean staying inside of one of your machines and praying they don't eat you.
No one seemed to like the idea of that plan. They free G2 from underneath this chunk of machinery.
Now we need to get the others up here as well. Seeing as they don't like coming up here, we're safe from them. We'll just have to figure out something to hide in so they don't throw stuff at us.
One of the dwarfs kind of opposes your plan with their own plan and says, "Well, if we can bide our time until the storm passes, when the storm passes, we can use that as a point to start digging up the payload. And if we can get the payload running, we can just get out of here, or at least make more traction here, cover more ground." A few of them like that idea.
Or we can do that. Either way, we need to figure out some way to be safe, and this is the safest place we have.
Fair enough, but it's not doing us any good right now when we know we're safe, as basically the entire team starts running back to the payload and shouts their plan to the general, to which everyone jumps out of their vehicles and starts the hardly task of unsticking this payload from the sand.
I run down and help them.
You all start digging this payload. You believe you can get it undug before long, but you are interrupted by another sandstorm that quickly approaches. Everyone quickly scatters back to their vehicles. Where do you go? One of the bikes or the main tank?
I'm gonna go to one of the bikes. Since I have one. I like
Alright.
my little bike.
There is 8. Oh, your bike, the one you had.
Yes, I
Okay.
like it.
Run back up to 8. A few bikes manage to kind of somewhat maneuver themselves close to a sand dune, or kind of on the ridge of one of the sand dunes. The creatures once again start swarming all around. You can hear on your little radio the generals are saying, "What are we missing? What are these things?" The question everyone's been asking. You happen to notice that one of these dunes is starting to circle your bike. But how could that be? You're on a sand dune.
Oh, I'm still on a sand dune?
Unless you moved away.
Yeah, I'll stay on my sand dune since let's add them. I'm on a sand dune.
This thing does not appear to care what elevation you are.
Okay, so maybe it was just the one.
This thing starts circling, and this one actually starts revealing itself from under the sand, like it starts surfacing every now and again. And you now see it is literally like just chunks of desert rock.
Can I see if it's being controlled by any magic or anything?
Through the haze, you don't believe you see any magical aura or anything of the sort. But you believe if you could possibly see whatever the head or maybe inside this thing, you can probably figure it out relatively close or relatively easily.
Since he's that close to me, I want to try and study him a little bit and see if I can see inside, around, or anything like that, pick up anything unusual about him.
You kind of cautiously lean out the top of your bike enough to get kind of a better vantage point. This thing looks like it's somewhat made of scales, like rock-like scales, but this thing does not seem to be consistent or symmetrical at all. Like it's literally a jumble of rocks together, or at least made to look like rocks, or possibly camouflage. But to your best of knowledge, it is desert rock. It does not appear to have any magical aura or runes or inscriptions or anything particular about it. But you're really only seeing the back of it, and sides.
Can I make out whether or not it's a piece of machinery, or is there like nothing I can see?
All you can tell is that it's rock. You really can't see anything telling about it. You believe if you can catch it just right with one of these things breaching out of the sand, you'd be able to get like a clearer answer.
I'm gonna try and catch one because I have some rope.
Okay, what do you plan to do?
I'm going to be my normal crazy dwarven self, get my rope out, and try and ride one.
Like grapple one?
Yes.
Alright, roll it to fish for a rock snake, whatever this is.
What?
Roll a d20 to go fishing.
I got an 18.
Alright, you managed to basically wedge this grapple into the back of one of these things. The rope starts reeling in, and you're pretty sure this thing is going to take you for a ride.
I brace myself.
This thing instantly pulls you off the bike, and you are now, like, sand skiing, so to speak.
I'm gonna try and pull myself. Is he still under the water?
This thing has not submerged. It is still kind of riding the surface. But it does appear to have lost interest in your bike and is kind of going around as if to shake you off.
I am going to try and actually get on the beast itself and get a better look at it.
You try your best to pull yourself close enough to actually get a grip onto this rock creature. You managed to get it right up next to your hook. You can grab onto this thing now.
I am officially on it.
You are, one hand's on the rope, the other hand is on this creature.
Okay, do I notice anything?
It is in fact rock. It is not painted. It is not fake rock. It is in fact actual rock.
I'm thinking, I'm sorry.
Roll to hang on. Contest.
14.
Good, you held on. I rolled a 10.
Do I have any cloth or anything on me?
You can easily tear something off of your person, or I'm sure you've got something in your adventurer's kit.
I am just going to hold on to this thing, and I am going to try and kill it. I want to use my pick maul and try and kill it.
Alright.
Get close to its head and smash it.
You try your best to kind of get up to around where you think its head is. It kind of just ends in kind of a pointed form. It doesn't really have any eyes or noticeable features as far as you can tell. But you're right about where you think the brain would be if it were to have a brain.
I want to take my pick mole and try and smash it.
Alright, this thing will shake you off again. Roll a contest.
19.
Alright, I rolled a measly little 4.
Huh?
I rolled a measly little 4. You held on just fine. If you want to strike this thing, roll a d20 as well.
Nah. Got a 14.
14 will work.
Okay.
Which side of your maul do you use?
Well, it is rock, so the best part would be to use the hammer end.
Alright, you give a good whap with this. It makes a good small crack into this rock. You believe another good smash, and this particular rock will probably break or shatter.
I'm going to go after it again.
Roll another contest to hang on.
17.
Well, I actually rolled a 19. How would you like to try and hang on?
I still have the rope in hand.
You want to try and catch the rope?
Yeah.
Roll it to catch the rope.
14.
I'll give it to you. Catch the rope. You're back where you originally grappled it. You want to make your way back towards the head, towards that same rock?
I have a feeling, since this is just a massive rocks, that anything I try and do will kind of be pointless as far as smashing. I would have to smash each individual rock, from what I'm gathering.
Do you think you've worked with a lot of stonemasonry and a lot of different variations of rock? Like, do you believe you would have any expertise with desert-style rock, as it being a dwarf?
I'm a dwarf, so I've done a lot of digging, I would assume so.
Alright, roll intelligence for me real quick.
10.
What would your bonus be for that? What do you think?
I don't know, I'm a dwarf. I've done a lot of mining, so
how well do you think you would know this rock, this type of rock?
Probably mediocre at best, because I'm a dwarf. I'm going to avoid the desert. I don't like the desert.
Alright. As far as you can tell from your interaction of trying to smash it and getting your hands actually on it, you can tell that this thing's not actually a solid mass, that this thing's probably just a shell, that this thing's hollow inside, as far as you can tell.
Okay. I want to try and work my way back up to the kind of like mid body and try and smash open the body and see what's going on the inside.
Alright, roll to smash.
Kayla, smash! 14.
Alright, roll damage for me this time.
D6.
Yes.
4.
Good enough. You break off a good chunk of this rock, and literally there is a cavity of some sort inside of this. It's mainly filled with sand of some sort, as this, you don't expect this thing would be necessarily airtight, but there is some sort of cavity in here.
Can I fit?
You can fit an arm for now. It's not a wide chunk of rock you have broken off.
Okay. Could I keep trying to break some more?
Certainly, if you roll another contest to hang on first.
Haha, 20.
I rolled a 2. Do you want to smash it? Let's smash it.
Yes, I want to try and smash it so I can see a little better inside.
Smash.
Roll to smash.
Yes.
16.
Alright, good enough. You break a good sizable chunk. You believe you could possibly fit through this hole in this rock creature, as this thing is still wriggling back and forth. But surprisingly staying on the surface, you now notice, of course.
I am actually going to drop in and see if and look get inside.
You kind of hop down. As soon as you get inside, this thing is very, of course, dark. There is no light except for the little bit of faint haze that's coming in from the top. Um, it's literally like what you expect. This entire thing is hollow except for sand inside of it. Um, at what you presume is the front, the head, you can somewhat make out a shape that kind of looks like a mass or a sphere of some sorts, but the sphere is not perfect. It is very jagged and edgy, but it is dark.
Okay. Is there any way I can make my way up towards the head?
Oh yes, you are not having any wind resistance. You believe you can just straight up walk inside this thing.
Okay, I'm gonna try and make it up to the sphere and see what's going on.
You make your way closer towards this sphere, and you now notice this thing is kind of breathing. And it looks more like a mass of just parts and pieces of machinery that's just been, oh, glued together, fashioned together in all sorts of ways on some sort of cloth mesh of sorts. This thing is kind of, looks like it's naturally breathing.
Do I have anything with me I can use to create light?
You've got enough to make a few torches in your adventurer's kit, you're sure.
I'm gonna. No, I don't. Can I grab him?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
I want to try and grab him.
You grab this thing by one of its mechanical parts, and it instantly you are met with a pair of what you can only assume are eyes, two dark hollow masses as this thing kind of whirls around. You were looking at its back, as you now notice. This little creature has a cape made of just cogs and parts that it's apparently fashioned together in a cape. It's like a little mummified desert-like creature, some sort of scavenger creature. It's heavily bandaged and just coated with things you would find in the desert. Like, you can't make out what type of organic being would be underneath all of this mass of collections. As this thing instantly realizes you are here, it holds out its feeble little arms and you are thrown backwards as this giant rock-like serpent reels up, assumingly out of the sand. Another large clash of lightning as this thing bellows. You now notice the sound is coming from this little mummified creature himself. As this thing reels up out of the sand, you kind of fall backwards. Are you going to land at the back, or are you going to try to hang on to something like the walls?
I'm gonna try and hang on to something.
Okay, roll to hang on to something.
5.
No, you miss your grip and you fall flat towards the back, the tail end, you believe. As this thing rockets out of the sand, at least what you can feel is rocking out of the sand, this entire construct kind of pulls apart, like all the rocks start separating, like this thing is, all these rocks are coming loose from each other as this mummified creature kind of still floats in mid-air. As this thing comes apart enough to lose enough of a grip for you to literally be expelled, and you fall out of this construct onto the desert sand, and you watch as this thing reforms as it digs back into the sand and disappears. The storm dissipates.
Okay, I look around to assess where I am, if I'm still near the everything, and see if what was taken, if anything.
As far as you can tell, nothing was taken. You are still right next to the caravan. You assumably were probably going in circles. A few dwarfs look on in amazement as what just happened, as this thing came apart.
Okay. I want to talk to the captain.
A few of them rush over to you and quickly collect you and rush you back to the main tankard with the general. What was that? What in the world? He wants answers.
They are not exactly monsters. They are things being controlled by other things that I don't know what are. I was inside of one. They're being controlled.
What did this controlling thing look like?
It looked like a desert mummy thing of some sort. It was all wrapped up and made out of mechanical parts.
Mechanical. Mechanical mummies? They all start pondering, like as if they could search their memory banks for something.
That's what it looked like to me.
What? What mechanical?
The insides are hollow. If you can actually manage to get one and smash its head, you'll smash the little creature. Because that seems to be where they're working from.
They all seem to be searching their heads really hard for whatever sort of mechanical mummies, like as if they should know what this is.
Can I draw a picture for them or something?
Yes. One of them happens to pull out a scrap piece of parchment and a charcoal pencil.
Okay. I want to try and draw them a little thing of what it looks like.
Are you very artistic?
Yes.
Good answer. You most predominantly show the kind of hunched over shape and the little feebleness of it, as well as the dark hollowed eyes is what you mainly remember. Kind of finish up your drawing and show it to them. A few of them actually go, like, very surprised, like, what in the world is that? And a few others kind of look like just perplexed as can be.
These are controlling them. We get inside monster and kill these, which is not as easy as I'm making it sound because it's magic of some sort. We kill the monster.
But who would be foolish? What kind of magic creatures would survive out here in the desert? They all start pondering and questioning. To which another storm is heard. Oh, come on! As this time everyone kind of groans a little bit like, we just got done kind of deal. Everyone kind of pops up out, this time more ready to study, now knowing kind of what they're facing. As this storm approaches and hits with the same ferocity as always, another large crack of lightning, as this time this rock creature that breaches actually comes apart just like the last one did and reforms before it hits the ground. Everyone now pointing out, there, the thing! Like they now can see the little creature inside of this rock monster.
They can see it?
Like they saw it this time. Those who didn't see it last time or whatever. Just, confirming it.
Is there any way I can I see it?
Oh yeah, you saw that little creature kind of floating around the head area as this thing burrows back into the sand. Excuse me, everyone roll a d20.
19.
One of the dwarves is knocked unconscious as this entire payload is rocked to one side violently. Like it was rammed, practically.
He was rammed by one of the little things?
One of the dwarfs gets essentially knocked unconscious as he collides with one of the consoles inside the tank as this entire payload and tank gets knocked to one side by one of these sand dunes. They start circling the main payload now. Two of the bikers will start to try and run interference and try to take them off of the main payload.
I want to try and get out and, Kayla smash. Or Ivory smash.